Yeah, in the beginning, I guess you could say you really, when you're younger, you don't know exactly what you want to do. Although my interest in cars was always there, but because I had to, how do I want to say it? My dad had 4 boys, and he said, if you want a car, if you want anything, you're going to have to get it yourself. And that's where we started out. All of us did that. We got our own car, paid for our own cars, all that. And I never had a place to work on one, and I always thought one day I will. And through the years, I've marriage, raising children, and money being tight, not making much, I didn't have any place. And then finally I figured out that working with these was one thing, working with this was another thing. So I decided to start using this, and that in turn, in 1975, I decided I was going to change everything that I was doing and go a different direction. The irony of it is I didn't know what I was doing. Call it dumb luck if you want, whatever. But I ended up buying this piece of property in 75, took over in 77 from a standpoint of actually owning it, but I couldn't take possession until 79. 79 is when we got going, and one thing led to another. This particular building that we're in right here used to be located in another place. My son Todd and I, well, along with the movers, when we redeveloped all this down here, we moved it from the corner of the property over to here, and the actual movers set it within about 8 inches of where I actually wanted it. And the reason why I wanted it at a certain place, I had the plans for the cement from when the building was first put up over there, still in my possession. So the building had to go where the cement was. We had the cement poured first. And Todd says, how are we going to do it? And I said, I'll show you. And between the two of us, we moved this building empty. Now, I'm not going to put you on. It was totally empty. There were not all of everything in it. It was a totally empty Butler building. And we moved it. We moved it little by little and got it exactly where it's supposed to be. And then we bolted it down, then we started building up from there. That was the beginning, I guess you could say. Now, in the process of moving this building over here, which hooks up to the building right next door, which hooks up to another building, it gave us a bigger area, maybe 7,500 square feet all told. Maybe not that much. I've never measured it, but it's adequate. And then we just started filling things up, and we had a ranch in the East County, and we sold that. We raised Arabian horses. We had 85 of them, and running that, my business, and having this, it was too much. So I decided to start using this instead of these. I'm back to these again. And meanwhile, Todd was doing his thing in music. And then once he started sticking around more at the house, or more in San Diego, we started doing more and more things here. So a lot of the things that are done here, damn near all of them, are done by family. Done by family. We hardly ask out other than electrician, which we've had the same electrician for a jillion years. We call him Sparks because occasionally he'd light up his ears fiddling with electricity. But anyhow, it's been quite an experience. It really has. Some of it looks crowded because we moved a lot of the stuff out of the ranch, which we had for 20 years, down here into that building next door. But we've always crowded for space. At a certain point, I had figured that we had worked about 10 or 12 years straight, 7 days a week, except for Christmas and Thanksgiving. And a lot of people say, yeah, right. Well, if you knew me, you would know that what I'm saying is true. Trying to run a horse ranch, run a commercial business, and ran my father-in-law's business. He passed away. It was 7 days a week. But anyhow, finally we got squared away. I counted the weekends that we worked, my wife and I worked, and I added them up, and they were, I don't know, a little over a year and a half of weekends and holidays. So what we did, we said, we're gonna take off. I quit my job, she quit her job, and she was a certified school teacher. I mean, she was taught kindergarten for almost 20 years. And we lived on nothing. We didn't know anything. And finally, it all came together. We started out very slow, and we started taking our time, putting it together. Now, I don't know whether not having any money being a conservative or not, but we certainly conserved, because I figured out we only have so much money to live on. But then everything was a lot more reasonable back in the 70s, as you recall. And it really has been a real trip, and it's been a rewarding one. It's just now beginning to make sense. What I had in mind back then is now happening. And unfortunately, I'm older, and I got a little short story that'll fill it in, and it is, when we were taking our time off and fooling around, traveling and so forth, we spent some time in Palm Springs. In fact, quite a bit of time, a week at a time, you know. And a bunch of old fellas that I would jump in the spa with, about 7 or 8 of us, over in Desert Hills Motel, asked me, Tom, what do you do? And I almost didn't want to tell them that I didn't do anything, because I retired when I was in 77, when I was 41. And they said, well, whatever you do it, because when you get our age, you're gonna be too damn old. Yeah, you'll probably have the money. Yeah, you'll probably have the time. No, you won't have the enthusiasm. No, you won't have the strength, and so forth. And by golly, their particular thoughts pretty much come true to form, all of them. And I'm talking about some fellows. One fellow was almost 100, and they golfed all the time and fooled around, and mostly really retired. I was just kind of playing like I didn't know what retirement meant, because I always worked. When I went to school 4 hours, and I worked 3 part-time jobs. I filled up every bit of spare time that I had in order to make some money, in order to do whatever, live, play with my car, but I never had a place to work on it, other than the backyard or the side yard, dirt lot, you know, whatever. And so this is kind of overwhelming, in that we have everything we need. We don't have any room, because I filled it up. At one time I had, I think, 42 cars, and I just, too much. Don't it? I cut it in half. I think I have 20 plus cars now. And some are wannabes, some are finished, some are in line. It's been interesting, really interesting. And all my new cars are 20 years old. I've got one Thunderbird, a 2002 Thunderbird. We only have 4,000 miles on it. And I bought it brand new from Ford dealer right down there in Mission Valley. And the XLR, the red one right here, I think it's only got 13,000 miles on it. It's a Cadillac. It's got the top that retracts and goes in the trunk. And my 49, which we're going to get to, my 49 Ford I bought in 1955, 2 years before Todd was born. and he's 63 now, and it's a nice old car, but not too many people have seen it. We've done magazine articles with Hot Rod Magazine, and we've done some stuff with Rod and Custom Magazine, but the car thing is just, my wife said it'd probably be easier on me if you had a girlfriend instead of all them damn cars. What she means by that is I sleep, eat, drink, think cars. That's not to say that I don't enjoy seeing a beautiful, mature woman or what have you, but I just want to emphasize the fact that she says my competition is your cars, not another female, which we both laugh. But that's it. That's life, so to speak. Yeah, that's a Harley Davidson motorcycle bicycle. It's really a bicycle, but it's made to look like a Harley Davidson. And at the time, of course, none of us had Harleys, but Todd has got several, 4 or 5 of them, and that's been hanging up there for quite a few years, along with the pedal car. If you go to the opposite corner of the garage, you'll see a pedal car. My wife found that at a swap meet, and I'm going to say at least 30, 35 years ago. My grandson, Tommy John, you just met, he was 2 years old when I got that, and we completely redid it. It doesn't look like it because it's been sitting up there for all that time. That's original rubber, original hubcaps. It was repainted and everything, but it's a real collector now. Anybody that knows anything about pedal cars would be in awe of the fact that the rubber tires are the original, hubcaps are original. In fact, the guy that sold it to me, he had a speech impediment, and anyhow, we got along really great. He and I did. Let me show you something here. While you're right there, look at that. This is the way Cadillac did things. That's where you put your gas in, right there. There's a gas cap right here. And then when you're all through, you just touch it, it closes. Pretty cool, huh? Stuff. More stuff. We just have all kinds of stuff. I don't know what the hell that is. There's stuff around here that I even forget about. I go back there and start looking at that stuff, and I even forgot about some of the stuff. When I got it, when we did it, how we did it, why we did it.
Caddy?
The CAD, yeah. I told him that color is beautiful. That's
Tahitian red?
Tahitian red.
Is that a Buick color?
No, yeah, 53 Buick.
I remember you telling me that.
53 Buick. It's a single stage, solid pigment, acrylic lacquer, and that's the way they called it back then.
It pops in the sun.
It really is a tremendous color. It's different. It's not like today. I had one fella come in and look at it, and he said he owned or managed a paint shop, and he said, "That's nice clear coat." And I said, "No clear coat." And he says, "Oh yeah, there's clear coat on it." I said, "No, you don't understand."
No, I clean it and wax it and rub it out a lot.
No clear coat. And when I finally convinced him there was no clear coat, I said, "I was doing this before you were born, young man, and I know what clear coat's all about. And if you want to call La Jolla Auto Body, they're the ones that did it. Talk to Paulette or Daryl Scott." And that took care of that. All right.